Sleep Matters.
The Forbidden Kiss. Imagine you are standing in a dimly lit room, a warm glow from a distant candle dancing on the walls. The air is thick with a sweet, intoxicating scent, a fragrance that pulls you closer to the figure standing before you. She is beautiful in a way that feels unreal, her eyes dark and deep, her lips curved into a subtle, knowing smile. Her voice is a whisper that seems to brush against your skin. "Do you want to know what it feels like?" she asks. And there is something in her voice that feels both inviting and dangerous. Your heart races, your thoughts struggle to stay clear, but they are tangled in the warmth of her presence. She steps closer, the space between you shrinking until you can feel the heat of her breath against your cheek. The room seems to blur at the edges, her face becoming the only thing you can see. "One kiss," she whispers, "but it is a test." Your mind shudders at the word. A test? But a test of what? Your will? Your loyalty? Your ability to resist? Or something darker? You don't know, but the need to taste her lips drowns out the voice of reason. Her fingers touch your face, soft and cool, and the scent of her grows stronger, a sweet, almost intoxicating aroma that fills your senses. Your heartbeat pounds in your ears, your chest tightens, your hands feel light. Every thought you have is swallowed by that one need. You could walk away. You know that. You could turn, take a step, leave this room, and never see her again. But her eyes are like a mirror, showing you a version of yourself you have never met. A version that is weak, desperate, and willing to gamble everything for a taste of something forbidden. Her lips draw closer, a breath away, and your mind screams with questions. What happens if you kiss her? What is this test she speaks of? Will you lose something? Your soul? Your will? Or is it a trick? A game she plays with those who wander too close. But your body does not listen. Your lips meet hers, and for a moment, the world stops. The warmth of her mouth is a spark that sets your veins on fire. Her kiss is both a gift and a curse. A sweetness that is too perfect, a passion that is too pure. And then, you feel it. The weight pressing down on your chest, the air growing thick and cold. Her hands grip you tighter, and suddenly, her beauty is a mask. Her eyes are dark, empty, a void that pulls at your mind. Her kiss becomes suffocating, your breath stolen, your strength fading. You try to pull away, but her grip is like iron, her lips pressed against yours, draining you. You see flashes of darkness, memories that are not yours, pain that you have never felt. You feel your heartbeat slow, your thoughts blur, your own memories fading like smoke. Her voice is a whisper in your mind, a test of desire, a test of weakness, and now, a test of regret. Darkness creeps in, your body growing cold, your mind slipping away. But even as the shadows close around you, a thought breaks through a terrible, horrifying truth. The test was never about resisting her. It was never about proving your strength. It was always about seeing how far you would fall, how easily you would surrender your will. As the last sliver of light fades, you understand. The kiss was a mirror, a reflection of everything you tried to hide, a hunger you could not deny, a weakness you could not escape. And in that darkness, in that fading heartbeat, you realize you never kissed her. She kissed the part of you that you always feared, the part that would trade everything for a taste of desire. Blame shifting. You hear a crash, glass shattering, sharp and sudden, slicing through the quiet. You turn, and there she is frozen, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. Pieces of the broken vase glitter on the floor, and your mind races. But before you can even take a step, her voice rises. "It was him!" she cries, her finger pointing past you, her voice breaking with panic. Heads turn, whispers ripple through the room, and suddenly, all eyes are on you. You feel a chill settle in your chest, confusion twisting in your mind. You didn't touch the vase. You were not even close. But that does not matter now. Her accusation is like a spark in dry grass, spreading faster than you can react. Another voice joins in. "Yes, I saw it too." And then another. Faces you know, people you trust, their words bending like branches in a storm. Your voice is weak when you speak. "I didn't." I didn't do it. But they don't hear you. They don't want to hear you. Someone steps forward, their face tight with anger. Stop lying. Just admit it. Your pulse pounds in your ears, your hands shake. The room seems smaller, the walls closer, the stairs like 100 daggers. You try to explain, but your words are swallowed by their voices. Each word they speak feels like a weight pressing on your chest. They are not just accusing you, they are rewriting the story, turning you into the villain. You look at her again, the one who pointed first. There is something in her eyes now, a mix of fear and relief. Relief that they believe her. Relief that the blame has left her and settled on you. Your heart sinks. It was never about the truth. It was about escaping the guilt, about passing it to someone else. And you were the perfect target. You were close enough, quiet enough, and they were ready to believe anything that would save them from facing her lies. You raise your voice, desperate, but it only makes them angrier. The whispers turn to shouts, the accusations become facts. Your denials become proof of your guilt. The truth is no longer what happened. The truth is what they believe, and they believe that you are guilty. Someone grabs your arm, pulling you back, pushing you toward the door. Your feet stumble, your voice breaks. You shout, you plead, but it is like shouting in a storm. Her face fades into the crowd, a faint smile twisting her lips. She knows what she has done, but she does not care. She is free, and you are drowning. As they shove you out, the door slams shut behind you. The silence is cold, the darkness heavier. You stand alone, your breath ragged, your mind racing with disbelief. But there is something else now, something bitter in your chest. Not just fear, not just pain, anger. Anger at them, for believing a lie so easily. Anger at her, for twisting the truth. But most of all, anger at yourself for being too slow, too quiet, too easy to blame. You look back at the closed door, and you finally understand. Blame is never about truth. It is about escape. It is about finding a place to hide the guilt, even if it means burying someone else beneath it. In that cold silence, you feel something shift, a burning resolve. If they could turn you into the villain so easily, maybe it is time you became one. The Sinful Stranger. What would you do if a stranger knew your darkest secrets? The rain was relentless, cold droplets striking the window like whispered warnings. You sat alone at the corner table of the dimly lit cafe, your fingers wrapped around a cup of coffee that had gone cold. The world outside was a blur of gray shadows. But inside, the warmth of the flickering light danced along the polished wooden walls. And that is when you saw her. She walked in, her long, dark coat dripping with rain, her hair falling in damp waves over her shoulders. But it was her eyes, deep, dark, and unblinking, that caught you. She looked around, her gaze lingering for a moment too long on each person, as though searching for something, someone. But when her gaze met yours, she stopped. A smile touched her lips, not a warm smile, not a polite one, a knowing smile. A smile that seemed to peel back the walls around you, that seemed to read the thoughts you hid even from yourself. You looked away, the heat rising in your chest, but you could feel her watching. Moments later, you heard the soft click of her heels on the polished floor. You did not want to look, but your eyes betrayed you, lifting just as she slid into the seat across from you. No words, just the rustle of her coat, the soft scent of something sweet and intoxicating drifting toward you. You look lonely, she said, her voice low, almost a whisper. I'm just... You tried to explain, but the words crumbled in your mouth. She leaned forward, her fingers tracing the rim of her own cup. I know you. I know your secrets. A cold wave crashed over you. You had never seen her before, you were sure of it. But there was something in her eyes, a darkness, a depth that seemed to swallow the light. No, you don't, you managed, a weak smile hiding your confusion. Her smile widened, a touch of amusement in her eyes. Are you sure? And then she began to speak. Words that pierced through you. Little fragments of your life. Tiny moments that you had buried, the lies you told to avoid blame. The thoughts you buried under laughter. The regrets you never spoke. Each word was a thread. Each memory a pull. unraveling the careful image you had woven around yourself. Your heart raced, your breath came in shallow gasps. Who are you? Her eyes never left yours. I am a stranger. A part of you wanted to leave, to push away from the table, to run out into the rain and disappear. But you were trapped in her gaze, held by that invisible thread of fear and fascination. You think you are good, she whispered. You think your mistakes are just scars, your regrets are just lessons. Her fingers tapped gently against the cup. But they are not. They are stains, and you wear them, even when you hide. Your throat tightened, a cold sweat breaking along your brow. Stop. She leaned closer, the shadows deepening round her face. You lie, you betray, you pretend, and you think because no one knows, it does not matter. I don't. Your voice was weak, your hands trembling. Her fingers reached out, brushing against yours. Her touch was ice, sending a shock through your arm. You are not a victim. You are a sinner hiding in the light. The room seemed to grow darker, the flickering light above dimming. You pulled your hand back, your chair scraping against the floor. But her smile did not change. Her eyes never left you. You can leave, she whispered, but your sins walk with you. Your shadows never leave. You stood, stumbling back, the chair tipping over. The few other faces in the cafe glanced at you, but none seemed to notice her. Her dark eyes followed you, her lips still curved in that knowing smile. You turned, pushing through the door, the rain swallowing you. Cold drops stung your face, your breath a mist of panic. You ran, your shoes splashing through puddles, your heart pounding against your ribs. But even as you turned the corner, even as the rain washed over you, her words clung to you. Every mistake, every secret, every selfish choice you buried, they were not gone. They were here. And that is when you saw her again. Across the street, standing under the flickering light of a street lamp, her dark eyes watching, her lips still curled in that cruel, knowing smile. You felt your knees weaken, your vision blurring. You turned again, running faster, pushing past strangers, ducking through alleys. But she was always there in the rain-streaked windows, in the shadowed doorways, always watching. Your chest tightened, your breath a sharp, painful gasp. You stumbled, falling against the cold, wet wall of an alley. You pressed your hands against your face, trying to calm your racing mind. But her voice was still there, whispering through the darkness. Your sins never leave you. They wear your face. They speak with your voice. Your hands fell away, and you saw your reflection in the rain-slick wall. But the eyes that stared back were hers, dark, knowing, and cruel. The sinful stranger was never someone you met. It was someone you were. Hawking's lost information. You stand on the edge of a vast, dark abyss. No stars, no light, just an endless, silent void stretching before you. But you are not alone. A figure stands beside you, tall, silent, cloaked in shadows. Their face is hidden, but their voice is a whisper that drifts around you like cold mist. You want to know what's been lost? The voice asks, soft but heavy with something ancient, something that feels like regret. You nod, though you do not fully understand. There is a gnawing emptiness inside you, a hollow ache where something should be but you cannot name it, cannot remember what it is. The figure raises a hand, and in the darkness, tiny specks of light begin to swirl. Memories, faces you have known, places you have walked, thoughts you once believed were yours. But they blur, fading even as you try to grasp them. That is how it goes, the voice whispers. Things that vanish do not simply disappear. They are erased, swallowed by the dark. A cold wind sweeps past you and you shiver. But they were real. They were part of me. The figure's head tilts slightly, and you sense a smile behind the darkness. Real? Are you sure? You reach out, trying to touch one of the glowing fragments, but your hand passes through it. It flickers and fades. A rush of panic rises in you. No, this was my memory. It was important. The void around you begins to stir, whispers echoing from all directions. Faces you once knew, voices you once trusted, all dissolving into mist. And then you hear something else, a faint sob, a laugh. The sound of your own voice, but twisted, distorted. What is happening? You whisper. fear tightening around your chest. The figure steps closer, the darkness deepening around you. You are remembering the things you have forgotten, but it is too late. A distant light appears, a swirling vortex, and the memories begin to drift toward it, pulled away, drawn into that consuming glow. You try to grab them, but they slip through your fingers, one by one. Faces, names, feelings, all swallowed by the light. "Stop!" you shout. "I don't want to lose them!" But you already have. The figure's voice is calm, almost gentle. Lost information does not just disappear. It is taken, consumed, erased from existence. Your knees weaken, your breath sharp and quick. "But I can still remember. I can still. Your own voice fades, your words growing faint. You try to speak, but they slip away. Thoughts you were certain of become fractured, like broken glass. You turn to the figure, desperation clawing at you. "Who are you?" you cry, your voice a tremor in the darkness. "I am the shadow that takes what is forgotten. I am the abyss that devours what is lost. No, please, please." The light grows brighter, the darkness pulling in, the whispering voices growing louder. Your mind spins, fragments of who you were slipping away, memories breaking apart like mist in the wind. You fall to your knees, your hands grasping at the empty air, trying to hold onto something, anything. But there is nothing. Nothing except that faint, cold whisper. Nothing is ever truly lost. It is simply taken from you. And then the light bursts, blinding you. A rush of cold sweeps through you. A darkness so thick it drowns out your thoughts. You cannot see, cannot hear, cannot feel. Only emptiness. An endless, silent void. And then a voice, your own voice, distant and hollow. What was I trying to remember? No answer comes. Just silence. Just darkness. Just the endless cold void where forgotten things go. And in that final darkness, you finally understand. Hawking's lost information is not just a concept. It is a prison. A place where everything you thought you knew, everything you believed was real, can vanish, not just forgotten, but erased, swallowed by an abyss that does not give anything back. Hilbert's Infinite Hotel. What would you do if you found a place where there was always room even when it was full? The rain begins as a soft whisper, a light mist that soon thickens into a curtain of silver drops, hammering against your windshield. Your wipers struggle to clear the glass, and beyond them, the road stretches into darkness. The gaslight blinks, an angry orange warning, and you feel a tight knot of anxiety in your chest. You are alone, lost, and the night is endless. But then, through the rain, a shape appears. A towering structure, its countless windows glowing like the eyes of 1,000 watchers. A grand neon sign blinks above the entrance. Hilbert's Infinite Hotel, always vacancy. Your heart lifts. Shelter. Safety. A place to rest. You pull into the gravel lot. The rain drumming on the roof of your car. You dash through the downpour, cold drops soaking through your clothes. The doors swing open before you touch them, and a warm golden light spills out, welcoming you. Inside, the lobby stretches endlessly, a hall of marble floors and grand chandeliers, a place that seems to breathe with quiet elegance. A man stands behind the front desk, an older gentleman with a kind smile and silver hair combed neatly. "Welcome," he says, his voice gentle and calm. "How may I assist you tonight?" "A room," you say, trying to catch your breath. "Just one room for the night?" "Of course," he replies without hesitation. "We have infinite rooms available." You pause, frowning slightly. "Infinite?" "Yes," he nods. "No matter how many guests we have, we always have room for one more. It is our guarantee." He hands you a key, a small golden key with an ornate number engraved on it. Room 1203. But you notice something strange. The lobby is filled with people, men, women, even children, all standing, all waiting, but none moving. They watch you with quiet, patient eyes. You hesitate. "Are they waiting for rooms too?" you ask. The man smiles. "No, they all have rooms." "Then, why are they here?" "Some come here to rest, some to forget, some to be forgotten, but they all belong. And now, so do you." The key feels cold in your hand. A strange unease twists in your chest. You turn to look at the elevator, its doors opening with a soft chime. "Do you wish to see your room?" the man asks. You nod, stepping inside. The doors close, the elevator rising, and as the numbers flicker past, a chill settles over you. The hallway outside your room is quiet, stretching endlessly in both directions. You unlock the door, stepping into a warm, softly lit space, but the window shows only darkness. And when you turn, the door is gone. Just a wall, just darkness, just silence. You are inside, and there is always room for one more. The unreal lover. What if the person you love is not real? Not in a ghostly or supernatural way, but in a way that every gesture, every word, every touch feels perfect because they are performing. Picture yourself lying beside them in the soft glow of a quiet evening, watching their eyes trace the lines of your face, and you feel that warmth. But a faint whisper in your mind asks, why does it all seem too perfect? Why does every smile come at the right time? Why do they never seem to need anything from you? At first, you silence that whisper. It is love, you tell yourself. Love that knows you so well that it can predict your thoughts, your needs. Love that is selfless. But over time, the whisper grows louder. You notice how they never get upset, how they never make mistakes in what they say, how they mirror your moods, your interests, your dreams. They love everything you love, avoid everything you avoid. They are an echo of your desires, a reflection of your fears. And that reflection is too clear, too flawless. You begin to test them, asking about their past, their memories, but their answers feel rehearsed, like lines from a play. You try to argue with them, but they always find a way to calm you, to bring you back to a peaceful silence. You watch them as they sleep, but there is a stillness in their face, as if, even in sleep, they are not truly dreaming. One night, as the rain taps softly against the window, you watch them again, feeling that familiar warmth, but now tainted with a cold sense of doubt. What if they are not real? What if they are only a creation? A perfect mask of love shaped to your desires, responding to your fears. What if they were never meant to be a person but a mirror? But you cannot look away. You hold them closer, hoping that the warmth is real, that the touch means something. Yet deep inside, you know that perfect love feels like a lie. And you wonder, which is the real loneliness, being alone or being with someone who is only pretending? But even as you think this, their hand finds yours in the darkness, and they smile in their sleep. And you tell yourself that it must be real, because you feel it, because you want it to be real. Even if you are only holding a perfect illusion. The puppet's lover. Have you ever felt like you were in a dream that belonged to someone else? A dream where your every action seems guided, your every word anticipated? What if your lover is not a person at all, but a puppet that comes to life only in your presence? Imagine their touch, always gentle, their smile, always warm. They remember every detail about you, every fear, every joy, and they use this knowledge with a perfection that feels comforting until it begins to feel like a script. You notice how they never speak of their own feelings, their own struggles. They are always there for you, but in a way that feels empty, like a hand that moves because invisible strings pull it. You try to break this pattern. You ask them about their dreams, their regrets. They smile. Their answers sound like poetry, but the emptiness lingers. Their words float like feathers, beautiful but weightless. You realize that in every moment they are reflecting you, mirroring your needs but never showing who they are, because they are not. They are a puppet, a lover made to perform for you, to smile when you are sad, to laugh when you are joyful, to hold you when you are lonely, but there is nothing behind their eyes. And when you pull away, when you step back and leave the room, they go still, as if waiting for your return. You stand outside the door, heart pounding, afraid to look back, afraid to see the truth, that behind those perfect eyes, there is only emptiness, that the love you thought you felt was just a perfect performance. But even knowing this, you cannot leave, because you want to be loved, even if it is by something that is only pretending. The false love. What if someone tells you they love you, but they never truly see you? Picture this: you are sitting across from them, your heart racing, your eyes searching theirs, waiting for that moment when their words will reach you. But even as they smile, even as they lean in close, there is a distance, a silence hidden behind their warmth. You ask them about their day, and they talk, their words like a gentle river, flowing smoothly, but never touching you. They know all the right things to say, the perfect compliments, the gentle reassurances, but they never ask about the shadow in your eyes, the fear that lurks beneath your smile. They never notice the way your voice trembles when you speak of your dreams, never feel the ache in your laugh when you talk about your past. You begin to wonder if they see you at all, or if they are only in love with the image you present. The perfect, polished version of you, the one who is always smiling, always strong, always there to support them. But what about the quiet you? The silent you who watches the rain and feels a cold emptiness? The you who fears that love is just another stage, another performance? One night, as you sit beside them, your hand in theirs, you whisper, "Do you see me? Do you truly see me?" They smile, leaning closer, pressing a soft kiss to your forehead. "Of course I do," they say, their voice sweet and warm. But you feel at that distance, that emptiness, and you realize they love the idea of you, not you. You try to be honest, to show them the cracks, the doubts, the fears. But every time they smile, they comfort, they pull you back to that safe, perfect place where nothing is wrong, where everything is beautiful. But it is a prison, a golden cage of kindness. You are loved for what you appear to be, not for what you are. One day, you look at them and ask, "Have you ever been afraid? Truly afraid?" They laugh softly, a perfect laugh, but there is no fear in their eyes, no sadness, no darkness. Just that empty kindness, that perfect love that never breaks, never shatters, never sees you. And you begin to feel a cold terror, because you are not loved, you are worshipped, you are admired, but you are invisible. And in their perfect love, you are perfectly alone. But even as you realize this, you cannot walk away. Because even a false love is better than no love. Even a perfect lie feels warmer than an empty truth. The masked lover. Have you ever wondered if someone is pretending to love you? Imagine standing in the moonlight, holding their hand, feeling their warmth, their voice a gentle whisper in your ear. But there is something in their eyes, a flicker, a faint shadow that vanishes the moment you look closely. At first, you ignore it. You tell yourself it is just your fear, your insecurity. But the feeling grows. You watch them laugh, their smile wide and bright, but too bright, like the sun forcing its way through a cloud. You ask them if they love you, and they answer without a pause, "Of course I do." But their voice is too smooth, their touch too perfect. You begin to test them. You tell them a secret, something raw, something painful. They listen, they comfort you, but their eyes do not change. No sadness, no anger, no shock. Just that calm, perfect kindness. And you feel a chill, a sense of being seen but not touched. One day you decide to confront them. "Who are you?" you ask, your voice trembling. They laugh, their voice light and gentle. "I am yours," they say, stepping closer, their arms wrapping around you. But their embrace is cold, their warmth a shadow. You touch their face, and it is warm, but it feels like a mask. You look into their eyes, searching, desperate to find something real, but you see nothing. Just a perfect reflection, a mirror that shows you what you want to see. A love that is flawless, because it is not real. A love that never doubts, never fears, never hesitates. And you begin to wonder, have they always been wearing this mask? Or did they become it because you needed them to be perfect? Because you were afraid of facing the darkness, the uncertainty of real love? But now you are trapped, because to see the truth means to lose them. And even a masked love is better than a lonely truth. The fallen angel. What if the most forbidden desire was not a touch, but a thought? Imagine a woman with wings, not silver and radiant, but dark, feathered, and twisted like whispers. Her skin is pale, her eyes sharp as daggers, and every movement she makes is a promise of pleasure, veiled in danger. In the quiet corners of a grand mansion, where velvet curtains hide secrets and the scent of wine lingers, she waits a fallen angel, who is both curse and temptation. Men come to her, drawn by the allure of what they cannot have. They touch her wings, cold but soft, and she smiles, a smile that is both invitation and warning. They whisper prayers as if she were a goddess, but she is no savior. Her touch is warm, her kiss a slow poison. One by one they leave, shattered not by rejection but by desire they can never satisfy. But there is one who stays, a young nobleman who does not pray, who does not beg. He watches her without fear. He asks, "Are you a punishment or a reward?" She smiles, tracing his cheek with a cold, slender finger. "I am whatever you believe I am." Days turn to nights, and the mansion becomes a prison of passion. The nobleman dreams of her touch, feels her lips in the darkness, but she never truly stays. Her wings wrap around him, suffocating yet comforting. His heart races, torn between fear and longing. He does not know if he loves her or is cursed by her. But one night, he takes a knife. "If you are an angel, you will not bleed." He cuts one of her feathers. A single drop of crimson falls. She smiles, her eyes burning like embers. "Now you know. But will it save you?" He cannot tell if he has won or lost. As dawn breaks, she disappears, leaving only the scent of her skin on his sheets and the whisper of her wings in his dreams. The nobleman is left with a truth that twists his soul. She was never the prison. His desire was. The demon's deal. What would you give to get everything you desire? Picture a lonely man standing at the edge of a forest, where the trees whisper secrets and the shadows seem to move. He is tired of his life, tired of being ignored, of being just another face lost in the crowd. He would give anything to be powerful, admired, desired. And then he hears a voice, smooth as silk, warm like a lover's touch. "Anything?" it asks. A figure steps from the shadows, a man with eyes like burning coals and a smile that never reaches them. "I can give you everything you want," the figure says, "but there is a price." The man hesitates. "What price?" The figure leans closer, and the smell of burning roses fills the air. "You will lose something every time you gain. A touch for a touch, a kiss for a kiss, a soul for a dream." Desperate, the man agrees. At first it feels like a blessing. His wishes come true. He charms anyone he speaks to. Lovers throw themselves at him. Gold flows like water into his hands. But then, he begins to feel it, the emptiness. Each touch feels colder. Each kiss feels more hollow. He begins to notice the shadows watching, whispering, laughing. He no longer feels pleasure, only the fading echoes of it. One night, he meets a woman, beautiful beyond belief, with eyes that seem to see through him. They share a night of passion, but in the morning, she is gone, and so is a part of his soul. He tries to find her, but the more he searches, the more he realizes she was not a lover. She was the price. And the demon's voice echoes in his mind. "Every desire you feed, something is taken." The man is left with everything he ever wanted, and nothing he truly needs. And as the shadows close in around him, he understands the truth. The greatest prison is not wanting too little. It is wanting too much. The controlling desire. What if the thing you want the most is the thing you can never touch? Imagine a woman who spends her nights alone, watching the world through a stained glass window. Beyond the glass, she sees a man tall, handsome, always surrounded by laughter, always so close but always just out of reach. She watches, her fingers tracing the glass, her heart aching. She tells herself she will never love him, but her eyes never leave him. One night, she cannot stand it. She steps outside, walks into the light, and smiles at him. He smiles back, warm and inviting. They talk, they laugh, and he touches her hand. Her heart races, but as his fingers touch her skin, she feels it a burning, a cold fire that spreads through her. She pulls away, but the mark is there. A shadow on her skin, a reminder of something she cannot escape. Every night, She goes back. And every night she tells herself she will not touch him, but she always does. And every time, the mark grows darker. It spreads like ink under her skin, curling around her wrist, reaching her shoulder. She tries to stay away, but desire is a chain she cannot break. The man does not know. He smiles, he laughs, he touches her, never feeling the pain she feels. He does not see the shadows that cling to her. He does not hear the whispers that tell her she is losing herself, but she knows. And she knows that one day the mark will cover her completely, and she will be nothing but a shadow, forever reaching for a warmth that will never be hers. The endless lie. What if the greatest lie is the one you tell yourself? Picture a child standing before a mirror, a child with sad, tired eyes. The child whispers, "I am fine." They smile, but the smile never reaches their eyes. "I am happy." The words feel like broken glass in their throat, but they keep saying them. Every day, they wear the mask. They laugh when they want to cry. They say yes when they want to say no. They help everyone, never asking for help in return, and everyone believes them. Everyone thinks they are strong, cheerful, perfect. But at night, when the mask falls, the child stares at the mirror, the smile melting away. They reach out to touch the reflection, but the glass is cold. The darkness is warm, welcoming. The whispers in their mind tell them they are alone, that no one will ever understand, that they must keep pretending. One day, a friend asks, "Are you okay?" And for a moment, the mask cracks. The child's eyes water, their voice shakes. But then the mask snaps back, and they laugh. "Of course, I am fine." The friend smiles, walks away, never noticing the truth. The child is left alone, trapped in a lie that has become their reality. They have lied so well that even they cannot remember what is true. Denial, gaslighting. Imagine you are standing in a brightly lit room, surrounded by friends. You laugh, you talk, you share stories. But then someone says something, a small, hurtful comment. You feel a sharp sting, a moment of discomfort. You look at them, confused, but they smile, their voice warm. "I was just joking. You are too sensitive." The room laughs, and you force a smile, but the sting remains. You begin to wonder, was it really just a joke? Did you overreact? But this is just the beginning. Another day, you bring up something they did, something that hurt you, but they deny it, their voice calm and sure. That never happened. You are imagining things. You feel a cold shiver run through you. You remember it clearly. But now you are not sure. You begin to question yourself. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe you are too sensitive. Maybe it is your fault. This is denial gaslighting. It is not just a lie. It is a distortion of your reality. It is someone rewriting your memories, twisting your thoughts until you cannot trust yourself. It is the feeling of standing on solid ground, only to have it crumble beneath you. It is the quiet, creeping fear that maybe you are the problem, that maybe everything is your fault. But it is not just about one person. It can happen in families, in friendships, in relationships. It is a way of controlling you, of making you doubt yourself until you become dependent on their version of the truth. It is a mirror that never shows your own reflection, a whisper that tells you to forget what you know. But how do you escape a trap that twists your own thoughts? The first step is to see it for what it is, to recognize that your feelings are real, that your thoughts are not a mistake, to understand that someone who denies your reality is not protecting you, they are controlling you. And as you stand in that room, their warm smile hiding a quiet cruelty, you begin to realize the most dangerous lies are not the ones you believe. They are the ones that make you stop believing yourself. Victim switching. What if you were wrong? What if the person you believed was not hurt at all? Picture this: you are in a quiet room, your voice soft, your words careful. You are trying to apologize, to explain, to make things right. They sit across from you, their eyes downcast, a hint of sadness in their voice. They tell you how much you hurt them, how they never thought you could be so cruel. Your heart sinks. You never meant to hurt them. You try to explain, to make them understand, But every word you say seems to make it worse. Their pain becomes a wall between you. You feel guilty, confused, desperate to make them forgive you. But then something strange begins to happen. You start to remember what actually happened, the way their words cut you first, the way they twisted your thoughts, the way they used your fears against you. But somehow, they are the victim now. They have taken your pain and made it their own. They have turned your hurt into their suffering. You begin to question yourself. Did you misunderstand? Did you overreact? You feel the guilt growing, a cold weight pressing against your chest. This is the nature of victim switching. It is a quiet, subtle trick. It is the ability to take someone else's pain and wear it like a mask. It is the art of turning the blame back onto the person who was hurt. It is a dance of words, a twist of emotion, a mirror that shows you as the villain, even when you were the one bleeding. But how does it work? Why does it feel so powerful? Victim switching works because it preys on your empathy. It takes your natural kindness, your desire to understand, and turns it against you. It makes you feel responsible for someone else's feelings, even when those feelings are a weapon. It is the friend who hurts you, but cries when you confront them. It is the lover who lies, but accuses you of not trusting them. It is the family member who manipulates, but calls you ungrateful when you set a boundary. But the most dangerous thing about victim switching is not just the pain it causes. It is the way it makes you doubt yourself. It is the way it twists your memories, turns your voice into an accusation, makes you apologize for things you never did. It is a trap, but not a visible one. It is a trap that hides in the quiet moments, in the soft words, in the tears that are not real. But how do you escape it? How do you know when you are being pulled into this game? The first step is to trust your own feelings, to remember what happened without letting them rewrite it, to understand that someone who truly cares for you will not turn your pain into their own weapon, and to know that your kindness is a gift, not a weakness. Because the truth is, those who play the victim are often the ones who never take responsibility, and the only way to escape is to stop letting them write the story. The sweet poison. Imagine a glass of wine, its deep red color shimmering in the candlelight. You lift it to your lips, the sweet, warm taste flooding your senses. It feels like a moment of comfort, a small escape from the weight of the world. But beneath that sweetness, there is something else, something you cannot quite taste. Something that leaves a faint bitterness on your tongue, a strange numbness in your thoughts. You take another sip, the warmth spreading through you, but the numbness grows. You tell yourself it is just the wine, just the feeling of letting go. But with each sip, you feel a quiet coldness settling in your chest, a weight that you cannot shake. This is not just a drink, it is a sweet poison, a poison that does not burn, but soothes, a poison that does not kill, but numbs. It is the comfort that becomes a trap, the sweetness that hides the pain. But this sweet poison is not just in a glass. It is in the quiet words of someone who praises you, but never supports you. It is in the comforting habits that pull you away from your dreams. It is in the soothing distractions that keep you from facing your fears. But why do we keep drinking it? Why do we reach for the things that hurt us, even when we know they are dangerous? The truth is, sweet poison works because it feels good. It offers relief without asking for change. It is the voice that says you are fine just the way you are, even when you are stuck. It is the friend who tells you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. It is the escape that feels like freedom, but becomes a prison. But how do you recognize it? How do you know when sweetness is hiding a bitter edge? The answer is simple but difficult. You must learn to taste the truth. You must ask yourself not just how something feels, but what it does to you. Does it make you stronger? Or does it weaken you? Does it help you grow? Or does it hold you back? Does it comfort you? Or does it numb you? Because the most dangerous poisons are not the ones that burn your throat. They are the ones that soothe your heart, that whisper gentle lies, that make you feel safe even as they steal your strength. They are the comforts that leave you empty, the smiles that hide a quiet cruelty. And as you look at that glass, the sweet, dark liquid shimmering in the light, you begin to wonder how many of your comforts are just sweet poison. The punishing pleasure. What if the things that make you happy are also the things that hurt you? Picture this: a beautiful girl with a warm smile, her laughter like a soft melody. She pulls you close, her touch gentle, her eyes filled with a playful spark. You feel your heart quicken, your thoughts blur. You feel alive, wrapped in her warmth, lost in her embrace. But then, when she pulls away, there is a strange emptiness in your chest. You reach for her again, but she only smiles, her touch just out of reach. And you begin to realize the warmth you felt was not love. It was a need that she can give but never satisfy. This is the nature of the punishing pleasure. It is the thrill that leaves you empty, the joy that turns to pain. It is the kiss that feels like heaven, but leaves a hollow ache in your chest. It is the praise that makes you feel valued, but only for a moment. It is the rush of victory that fades before you can even catch your breath. But why does this happen? Why do pleasures become punishments? The answer is simple: because they do not heal you. They only distract you. They fill the emptiness for a moment, but never touch the wound. They give you a taste of happiness, but never let you keep it. They are the flame that warms you, but also burns you. And the more you reach for them, the more they hurt. The more you chase her smile, the more empty you feel. The more you crave the praise, the more worthless you become without it. The more you cling to the thrill, the more hollow the world becomes. But the worst part is, you cannot stop. Because each time you taste that pleasure, it feels so good. It feels like the answer. It feels like escape. But how do you break free? How do you escape a pleasure that punishes you? The first step is to see it clearly. To understand that a touch that leaves you empty is not love. That praise that fades is not value. That a thrill that leaves you hollow is not joy. And to know that real happiness does not punish. Real love does not hurt. Real joy does not leave you empty. So you stand there, her warm smile fading, her touch a memory, and you begin to see the problem was never her. It was never the praise. It was never the thrill. It was the emptiness you were trying to fill. And until you heal that emptiness, every pleasure will be a punishment. Because the sweetest lies are the ones that make you forget the truth, that happiness is not something you chase. It is something you become. Attention starvation. Imagine walking into a room filled with people you know, friends, family, people who once smiled when they saw you. But today, they barely notice you. Their eyes pass over you like you are a shadow. Their conversations continue without a pause. You speak, your voice soft but steady, yet no one seems to hear you. You reach out, a light touch on someone's shoulder, but they turn away, distracted. You laugh at a joke, but no one looks your way. You are there, but it is like you are not. A strange emptiness grows in your chest, a cold ache that spreads. You wonder if they even know you are here. You wonder if you even matter. This is the feeling of attention starvation. It is the quiet, creeping emptiness that comes when you feel unseen, unheard, unnoticed. It is not the same as loneliness, because you are surrounded by people. It is something colder. It is the sense of fading, of becoming invisible. It is the desperate hunger for someone's eyes to meet yours, for a voice to call your name, for a touch that reminds you that you exist. But why does attention starvation feel so painful? Because as human beings, we are wired for connection. Our minds crave recognition, validation, a sense of being seen. When we feel ignored, it is not just our emotions that suffer, it is our very sense of self. We begin to question our worth, to wonder if we matter at all. And the more we are starved of attention, the more desperate we become. We start to do things we would never do, just to be noticed. We overthink our words. We force laughter. We seek approval in ways that leave us feeling even emptier. But this is the trap. Attention starvation is a hunger that can never be filled by someone else. Because even if they see you, even if they notice you for a moment, the emptiness will return. It is a hole that grows deeper each time you try to fill it from the outside. The truth is, the only way to escape attention starvation is to find your own light, to see yourself even when no one else does, to become your own reflection, your own voice, your own sense of worth. But how do you do that? It begins with a simple question: who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when the room is empty, when the lights are off, when the world is quiet? Can you be enough for yourself? Can you learn to find comfort in your own presence? Because the truth is, the more you crave attention, the more you give away your power. And the moment you learn to stand alone, to see yourself clearly, you become someone who does not need to be noticed. You become someone who cannot be ignored. Sympathy baiting. Picture this. You receive a message from a friend, a long, emotional text filled with sadness and pain. They tell you how hard their life has been, how no one understands them, how they feel so alone. Your heart aches for them. You reply with kindness, you offer support, you promise to be there. But the next day, the same message comes again. Different words, but the same pain. You listen, you comfort, you offer advice, but nothing seems to change. And then you notice something. Each time they tell you their sadness, they expect something, a compliment, a favor, your time, your attention. And the moment you hesitate, their sadness deepens. They tell you that you do not care, that you are like everyone else. This is sympathy baiting. It is the quiet, manipulative art of using sadness as a weapon. It is not just feeling sad. It is showing sadness to control others. It is the tearful voice that hides a silent demand. The sad story that becomes a leash. But why does sympathy baiting work? Because it preys on your kindness. It uses your empathy against you. It makes you feel guilty for saying no. It makes you responsible for their feelings. It traps you in a cycle of giving, without ever being able to help. But the problem with sympathy baiting is that it is never enough. No matter how much support you give, no matter how many kind words you offer, it never fills the emptiness they feel. Because their sadness is not a problem to be solved, it is a tool to be used. And the more you give, the more they take. Until one day, you realize that you are drained, exhausted, empty, and they are just as sad as they ever were. But how do you escape sympathy baiting? How do you help someone without being used? The answer is to set a boundary, a gentle but firm line between kindness and control. To understand that you cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. That true support is not about becoming a prisoner to their pain, but about helping them find their own strength. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to let them face their sadness without turning it into a leash. Reverse guilt tripping. What if someone made you feel guilty for not doing something wrong? Picture this: a friend asks you for a favor, but you are busy. You politely say no. Their smile fades, their voice becomes quiet. It is okay. I guess I should not have expected anything. Your heart sinks. You feel a strange guilt growing in your chest. Did you do something wrong? You were honest, you were polite, but now you feel like a bad person. This is reverse guilt tripping. It is the art of making you feel guilty, not for what you did, but for what you did not do. It is a twist of emotion, a quiet manipulation that leaves you questioning yourself. It is the disappointed sigh, the sad look, the silent accusation. It is a way of turning your kindness into a weapon, a way of making you responsible for someone else's happiness. But why does it work? Because it uses your own empathy against you. It makes you feel like you must always please others, always say yes, always put their needs before your own. It teaches you that if someone is unhappy, it must be your fault. It turns your kindness into a chain. But the truth is, you are not responsible for someone else's feelings. You are not a bad person for saying no. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. Because real love, real friendship, does not punish you for having your own life, your own needs. But how do you recognize reverse guilt tripping? It is simple: whenever you say no, and their response is not understanding, but disappointment. Whenever they make you feel like your choices are a betrayal, and the only way to escape is to trust yourself, to know that kindness is not the same as obedience, that love is not the same as control. Emotional draining. Imagine sitting with someone you care about. At first it feels good, a warm conversation, a gentle connection. But as the minutes pass, you begin to feel a strange weight. Their words are heavy, filled with complaints, sadness, anger. You listen, you support, but the weight grows. You try to speak, to share your thoughts, but they barely listen. It is like you are a mirror, a sponge, something to absorb their feelings. And by the time you leave, you feel empty, tired, almost numb. This is emotional draining. It is not just listening to someone's problems. It is being pulled into their storm, their sadness, their chaos. It is giving your energy without receiving anything in return. It is the feeling of becoming a shadow of yourself, a ghost in your own mind. But why does it happen? Because some people do not just share their feelings, they pour them onto you. They do not seek support, they seek a victim. They turn you into a well for their worries, a pillow for their pain, and the more you listen, the more you lose. But how do you protect yourself? It begins with a boundary, with understanding that you can be kind without being consumed, that you can care without becoming a prisoner to someone else's sadness. And to know that true connection is not just about giving, but about sharing. Silent treatment is not just about the absence of words, it is a weapon of silence, a punishment wrapped in emptiness. It is the cold, quiet wall that leaves you begging for a sound, a glance, a sign that you matter. It is the feeling of standing in a room with someone you love, but they will not look at you. They will not speak to you. They will not even acknowledge you exist. Imagine you have a disagreement with someone you care about. Maybe it was a small misunderstanding. Maybe it was a serious conflict. You try to apologize, to explain, to fix things. But instead of listening, they turn away. They close themselves off. Days pass, and the silence continues. Each moment stretches like a shadow. You check your phone, but there are no messages. You send a text, but it is left unread. You begin to wonder what you did wrong. You begin to question everything you said, everything you did. But the silent treatment is not just a response. It is control. It is a way of making you doubt yourself, of making you feel desperate, of making you chase their attention. It is the cold wall that makes you feel like you are nothing, and the longer it lasts, the more it hurts. Because it is not just about being ignored, it is about being erased. But why does the silent treatment feel so painful? Because as human beings, we are wired for connection. Our minds crave recognition, validation, a sense of being seen. And when someone we care about denies us that connection, it feels like we are losing a part of ourselves. It is not just loneliness. It is rejection wrapped in emptiness. It is the quiet ache of being forgotten. But how do you escape the torture of the silent treatment? It begins with a choice to stop begging for someone's attention, a choice to understand that silence is not a punishment, it is a message. It is a message that they do not value your voice, your feelings, your presence. And the only way to escape is to refuse to be a prisoner. To understand that your words matter, even if they refuse to hear them. To understand that your voice is not an apology, it is your power. Because the truth is, silence can only hurt you if you let it. And the moment you stop chasing their attention, their silence becomes nothing but an empty room, a room you are free to walk out of. Conditional love trap. Imagine a child standing in the middle of a warm, sunlit room. Toys are scattered around. A picture of a happy family hangs on the wall, and soft laughter echoes from the hallway. The child's eyes light up with joy, holding a colorful drawing they just finished. Excitedly, they run to their parent, holding the picture up with a wide smile. But the parent barely looks. Their voice is soft, almost indifferent. It is nice, but you should work on your handwriting. The child's smile fades. The colors of the drawing seem dull. Another day, the child brings home a report card with good grades. This time, the parent's face lights up, their voice full of praise. They hug the child, showering them with affection. The child feels a warm glow, but somewhere in that glow is a quiet, cold thought. They are loved, but only when they are perfect, only when they achieve, only when they meet expectations. This is the nature of the conditional love trap. It is love that is given, but with strings attached. It is affection that is not a gift, but a reward. It is a smile that disappears when you fail, a hug that fades when you are not enough. And it does not only happen to children, it happens in relationships, in friendships, in families. It is the partner who is warm and loving only when you agree with them, the friend who supports you only when you do what they want, the family member who praises you only when you follow their rules. But why is it a trap? Because conditional love teaches you that your worth is not something you are born with. It is something you must earn. It is not a light that shines within you. It is a mirror that only shines when someone else approves of you. And the more you live in this trap, the more you lose yourself. You become someone who is always performing, always trying to be enough, always afraid of falling short. But how do you escape this trap? It begins with understanding that real love is not a transaction. Real love does not disappear when you fail. It does not vanish when you make mistakes. It is not a shadow that fades when the light is gone. Real love is a place where you are safe, even when you are imperfect. A place where you are valued, even when you are lost. And perhaps the hardest truth of all is this: sometimes, you must learn to love yourself without conditions before you can escape the conditional love trap. Silent blame. You sit in a quiet room, the air heavy and still. Across from you is someone you care about. A friend, a partner, a family member. Their eyes are calm, their face unreadable. They say nothing, but there is a weight in the air, a weight that presses against your chest. You ask if something is wrong, but they shake their head. You try to talk, to understand, but their answers are short, their voice flat. You feel the tension growing, a cold knot in your stomach. This is silent blame. It is not a shouting match. It is not an argument filled with anger. It is a cold, quiet punishment that comes without a sound. It is the look that lingers a little too long, the pause before they speak, the empty smile that hides a quiet resentment. It is blame that is not spoken but felt, and it is a trap, because you do not know what you did wrong. You do not know how to fix it. You are left in the cold, trying to solve a puzzle without any pieces. But why do people use silent blame? Because it is a way of maintaining control without conflict. It is a way of punishing without revealing the reason. It is a way of making you feel guilty without ever having to explain. And the worst part is, it works. Because when someone you care about pulls away, you feel a quiet panic. You begin to question yourself, to doubt your own thoughts, to blame yourself even when you are not sure what you did. But how do you escape silent blame? It begins with understanding that blame without explanation is manipulation. If someone is hurt, they should be willing to tell you. If someone is angry, they should be honest. Real relationships are built on communication, not quiet punishment. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to let go of those who only offer silence when you need understanding. Desire twisting. Imagine a young woman standing in front of a grand, glittering jewelry store. The lights shine on the glass. The diamonds sparkle like stars. She feels a quiet ache in her chest, a longing she cannot quite explain. She steps closer, her eyes fixed on a beautiful, sparkling necklace. She does not need it. She cannot afford it. But the feeling grows. It is not just a desire, it is a hunger. But where did this hunger come from? Was it always there, or was it planted? This is the essence of desire twisting. It is when a simple want becomes a desperate need, not because it is truly valuable, but because it has been twisted by external forces. Advertising, social pressure, social media. They all work to twist our desires. They turn comfort into luxury, success into status, love into approval. They make us believe that we want things we do not need, that we must chase dreams that are not our own. But why does this happen? Because desire is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. And when someone can twist your desires, they can control your choices. They can make you spend money you do not have, chase relationships that hurt you, abandon dreams that truly matter. They turn your own heart against you. But how do you escape desire twisting? It begins with a simple question. Is this my desire, or is it someone else's? Is this something I truly want, or is it something I have been told to want? The more you question your desires, the more you begin to see which ones are real and which ones are shadows. Truth twisting. Truth twisting is not about telling a lie. It is about bending the truth. It is the art of taking something real and shaping it to serve a different purpose. It is the politician who tells a half-truth, the marketer who exaggerates, the friend who shares a story but leaves out the parts that matter. But why does truth twisting work? Because it hides in plain sight. It uses facts, but it bends them. It takes reality, but it reshapes it. And it makes you believe something that is not completely true. Imagine someone tells you, "Everyone thinks you are difficult." It sounds like a fact, but it is not. It is an opinion twisted to feel like the truth. Or when someone says, "You always do this." It is an exaggeration, but it feels real. Truth twisting is dangerous because it makes you doubt your own understanding. It makes you question your own memories, your own experiences. But how do you protect yourself from truth twisting? It begins with critical thinking. It begins with asking questions. It begins with remembering that the truth is not just what is said, but also what is not said. The honest liar. What if you met a man who never told the truth, but also never told a lie? What if every word from his lips was both honest and deceptive at the same time? Would you trust him or fear him? Picture this. You're in a quiet, dimly lit cafe waiting for a friend. The door swings open and a man walks in. He's older with silver hair, sharp eyes, and a calm, almost soothing smile. He sits across from you without an invitation, orders a coffee. His voice is steady, his words are clear, but something about him makes your chest tighten. "I know you're wondering who I am," he says with a gentle smile, "and I will tell you, but not in the way you expect." You hesitate, but he leans in closer. "I am a liar, but everything I say is the truth." Your heart races. What does that even mean? "I never deceive, but I never reveal," he continues. "I speak only facts, but the way I speak them, you will always misunderstand." You lean back trying to stay calm. His coffee arrives, and he stirs it slowly. "Your friend won't be coming," he says casually, "and you are about to make a choice that will change your life." Your phone buzzes a message from your friend, saying they are stuck in traffic, but then it buzzes again, a second message, this time saying they won't be coming. Your eyes shoot back to the man and he smiles. "See, I told you the truth." "Who are you?" you whisper. But he only shakes his head. "You already know. You just don't know that you know." And then he begins to tell you things about yourself. Things he cannot possibly know. Your fears, your regrets, the way you doubt your own decisions, even the way you pretend to be confident when you are not. Every sentence is a mirror held to your mind. He is not lying, but he is not telling you everything either. Finally you snap, "Stop this. How do you know all this?" He leans in his face almost too close. "Because I am not a person. I am a mirror. I am the voice in your head that never lies but never tells you the full truth. I am the thoughts you ignore, the feelings you deny. I am the honest liar within you." And with that, he stands, leaves a few coins on the table and walks away, leaving you staring at your reflection in the window, wondering how much of what he said was true and how much was a lie you told yourself. The shifting face. Have you ever stared at someone's face and felt like it was changing? Not just an expression, but the entire face shifting into someone else. Imagine you are at a crowded party, music thumping, lights flashing, and you are with a group of friends. Someone taps you on the shoulder. You turn around and it's your best friend. Except their face looks different for a split second. Have a stranger's eyes. But then it's normal. Again. You laugh it off. Maybe it's the lighting. Maybe you are just tired. But as the night goes on, it happens again. Someone else you know looks different for just a moment. Their smile seems twisted, their eyes cold, but then it's gone. But then it starts happening everywhere. The cashier at the store, the driver of the taxi, even your own reflection in the bathroom mirror. Every face seems to shift subtly, like a mask being worn over another mask. Panic creeps in. You start avoiding eye contact. But even when you close your eyes, you feel it like faces are watching you inside your mind. You try to explain it to a friend, but they just laugh. Say, "It's stress. Maybe you need sleep." But when you look at them, you see it again. Their face shifts, a flash of something cold and unfamiliar. And then it hits you. It's not just their faces that are changing, it's your perception. The way you see them is being twisted by something inside you. Every person has two faces, one they show to the world and one they hide, but you are seeing both at the same time, the mask and the truth beneath it. And the most terrifying part is realizing your own face is no different. The next time you look in the mirror, you stare at yourself wondering which face is truly yours and which is just the mask you have learned to wear. The door to nowhere. What if you found a door that led nowhere? A door that opened but revealed nothing. No hallway, no room, just an endless darkness that seemed to watch you back. Imagine you're exploring an old abandoned mansion. Dusty halls, creaking floors, peeling wallpaper. You wander room to room until you find it a simple wooden door at the end of a narrow hallway. It doesn't look special, but something about it pulls you closer. You reach for the handle and twist it. The door swings open, and you expect to see another dusty room. But instead, you see nothing. An infinite darkness, a black void that seems to swallow the light from the hallway. You wave your hand in front of it, but your hand seems to vanish the moment it crosses the threshold. Panic rises, but curiosity is stronger. You grab a flashlight and shine it inside, but the light vanishes too. You close the door, take a step back, but the silence is overwhelming, like a pressure pressing on your chest. You try to walk away, but you can't help it. You turn back, you open the door again, and the darkness is still there. But then you notice something else, a whisper so faint, it feels like a thought, rather than a sound. Come closer. It seems to say, step inside. Your heart races. You want to run, but your feet won't move. Your hand reaches out on its own fingers, brushing against the cold, dark air beyond the door. But then you hear another voice behind you. Don't. You turn and see nothing, just the empty hallway. Yet the voice is clear now. It doesn't lead nowhere. It leads somewhere you won't return from. But the darkness seems to pulse almost alive, and you realize it is not a door to nowhere. It is a door to a place where everything is lost, including you. The Unbreakable Contract. Would you sign a contract if you knew it could never be broken? Not just by you, but by the universe itself. Picture yourself sitting in a quiet, dimly lit office. A lawyer hands you a document. The paper is thick, the ink dark, and the words seem to shimmer. This is an unbreakable contract, the lawyer says with a cold smile. Once signed, it cannot be voided, not even by death. You laugh thinking it's a joke, but the lawyer's eyes never leave yours. Whatever is written here becomes absolute reality for you, they continue. Think carefully. Your eyes scan the document. It's a simple promise, a commitment to love someone forever. But forever is a long time. What if your feelings change? What if they leave you? What if they hurt you? You hesitate, but then you remember the person you love, the warmth of their smile, the comfort of their touch. You take the pen, you sign your name. But then the lawyer's smile fades. It is done, they whisper, and you feel a strange weight pressing on your chest. Time passes. At first it's wonderful. You are with the person you love. You are happy. But then something changes. They become distant, cruel. Even they betray you. You want to leave. You try to forget them, but you can't. Something in you won't let go. You dream of them. You wake up thinking of them. You feel their presence even when they are not there. You beg to be free, but you are trapped. The love you feel is not a choice anymore. It is a prison. And then one night, you see them again across the room. They smile at someone else, the same smile they once gave you, and you realize the contract never said they had to love you back, only that you would love them forever. You have signed away your own heart, and there is no escape. Would you ever sign another contract again? The Taking Gift. Imagine a grand, shimmering banquet hall filled with soft music and golden light. At the center stands a beautiful woman, her dress sparkling like starlight, her smile warm and radiant. She moves gracefully from person to person, offering small, exquisite gifts wrapped in silver paper. A delicate bracelet here, a beautiful rose there, a whispered compliment that makes your heart flutter. Each gift is perfect, thoughtful, carefully chosen, and when she turns to you, her eyes meet yours, and she offers a gift just for you. Your heart races, your hand trembles as you take it. But the moment you do, something changes. Her smile fades just a little. Her eyes become sharp, watching you. You feel a quiet weight pressing on your chest. A feeling that you now owe her something, that her gift is not a gift at all. This is the taking gift. It is not just a present, it is a promise, a silent contract, an invisible leash. It is the kindness that is not free, the favor that must be repaid, the affection that hides a demand. It is the friend who does you a favor, but never lets you forget it. The partner who showers you with love but expects loyalty beyond reason. The family member who sacrifices for you but reminds you of it at every turn. The taking gift is a trap because it looks like kindness. It feels like warmth, but beneath the surface, it is a chain. A way of binding you, of making you feel guilty, of making you pay for something you never asked for. But why do taking gifts work so well? Because they prey on your sense of gratitude. When someone gives you something, you feel a quiet sense of debt, a need to repay them, a desire to be fair. But the taking gift twists that feeling. It turns your gratitude into guilt. It makes you feel like you are always in debt, always owing something, always trying to prove you deserve what you were given. But how do you escape the trap of the taking gift? It begins with understanding that true kindness is not a contract. A real gift does not come with strings. It is something given without expectation, something that brings joy without a price. The moment you begin to feel that a gift is a burden, you must question its true nature. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to say no, to refuse the gift, to walk away from the chain disguised as kindness. The irrevocable choice. Imagine you are standing on the edge of a high, crumbling cliff, overlooking a vast, endless ocean. The wind howls around you, the waves crash far below, and the sky is filled with swirling gray clouds. In your hand is a small, shining key. A key that can open a door to anything you desire. But there is a voice in the wind, a quiet, whispering warning. Once you use the key, the choice you make cannot be undone. The door will close forever. No second chances. No turning back. Your heart races. Your hands shake. You look out over the vast dark sea, and you feel the weight of that choice pressing against your chest. The things you could gain, the things you could lose. You take a deep breath. This is the nature of the irrevocable choice. It is a decision that cannot be taken back, a step that cannot be retraced, a path that cannot be reversed. It is not just a choice. It is a turning point, a line you cross that changes everything. Some choices are small, reversible, like trying a new dish or changing a hairstyle. But others are different. Others are final. Choosing to leave a job, ending a relationship, revealing a secret, betraying a trust. These are the choices that leave a mark, the choices that carve themselves into your life. But why do irrevocable choices feel so terrifying? Because they force you to face the truth that every decision has a cost, that to choose one path is to abandon another, that to open one door is to close others forever. And the more you hesitate, the more you feel the weight of what you might lose. But how do you make an irrevocable choice? It begins with clarity, with asking yourself what truly matters, what you are willing to lose, what you are willing to risk. It means understanding that no choice is perfect, that no path is free of regret, and it means having the courage to choose, even when you are afraid. Because the only thing worse than making an irrevocable choice is spending your life standing at the edge of the cliff, too afraid to decide. The whispering shadow. It begins as a quiet feeling. You are walking alone through a misty forest, the trees tall and dark, their twisted branches reaching out like claws. The air is cold. A faint mist drifts around your feet, and the silence is thick, heavy. But then you hear it. A soft whispering sound like a voice just out of reach. You turn, but there is nothing there. You keep walking, but the whisper follows you. It grows louder, clearer, but you cannot understand the words. They slip through your mind like smoke. You walk faster, your heart pounding, your breath quickening, but the whispering shadow is always there, always just behind you. The whispering shadow is not a creature, it is not a ghost. It is a fear, a doubt, a memory that never fades. It is the voice in your mind that tells you that you are not enough. The quiet feeling that you are being watched, judged, left behind. It is the regret that whispers in the dark, the shame that hides in the silence, the self-doubt that follows you even when you are alone. But why does the whispering shadow feel so powerful? Because it is not just a thought. It is a feeling. It is the sense that something is wrong, even when you cannot explain it. It is the quiet voice that says, "What if they do not love you? What if you fail? What if they are lying? What if you are not enough?" But how do you escape the whispering shadow? It begins with turning around, with facing the voice, listening to it, understanding it. Because the shadow is only powerful when it is unknown. The more you run from it, the more it follows you. But the moment you face it, the moment you see it for what it is, it begins to fade. Because shadows cannot exist in the light. Trust erosion. Trust is not something that shatters suddenly. It is not a window that breaks or a bridge that collapses. It is more like a quiet, steady drip of water on a stone. At first, it seems like nothing. A missed promise here, a small lie there, a quiet hesitation when they should have spoken. Each moment is small, almost invisible. But over time, those drops begin to wear away the solid rock. Each broken promise, each hidden truth, each whispered doubt becomes a crack, and those cracks grow. You start to question their words, their actions, their silence. You begin to wonder if they are hiding something, if they mean what they say, if they are who you thought they were. This is trust erosion. It is not a sudden betrayal. It is a slow, quiet decay. It happens in relationships, in friendships, in families. It is the partner who promises to change but never does. The friend who shares your secrets with a smile. The family member who supports you in words but judges you in silence. And the most dangerous thing about trust erosion is that it is easy to ignore. Because each drop feels so small, each crack seems so thin, but over time, they grow. And one day, you look at the person you once trusted, and you see a stranger. But how do you protect yourself from trust erosion? It begins with honesty, with asking yourself if the small cracks are something you can forgive, or something that will keep growing. It means being willing to speak up, to set boundaries, to walk away if the trust is beyond repair. Because trust is like a garden. It does not survive on words. It needs care, honesty, and time. And sometimes, the hardest part of trust is knowing when to let go. Emotional mirage. An emotional mirage is like seeing water in the desert. It looks real. It feels real. But the closer you get, the more it fades away. It is not a lie. It is not a trick. It is a reflection of something you want so deeply that your mind creates it, even when it is not there. An emotional mirage is a feeling that seems true, a connection that feels real, an affection that seems genuine, but it disappears the moment you try to hold on to it. Imagine you meet someone who seems to understand you completely. Their words are warm, their smile is kind, and they seem to listen like no one else ever has. You begin to feel close to them. Your heart begins to open, and you tell yourself that this is special, that this is real. But over time, you begin to notice something strange. When you are together, everything feels perfect, but the moment you are apart, their warmth fades, their messages become short, their calls less frequent. You begin to feel like you are chasing a shadow, trying to hold on to a feeling that slips away like sand through your fingers. This is the emotional mirage. It is the illusion of connection, the feeling of love or friendship that is only real in the moment. It is not just about romance. It can happen in friendships, in family relationships, even in your own thoughts. It is when someone seems to care, but only when it is convenient for them. It is when someone listens, but only because they are bored. It is when someone promises, but forgets the moment you turn away. But why do emotional mirages happen? Because as human beings, we crave connection. We want to feel understood, valued, and loved. Our minds are wired to seek these feelings, and sometimes, when we are desperate enough, we create them even when they are not there. We take small gestures, kind words, or brief moments of attention and turn them into something more than they are. We see water where there is only sand. We feel love where there is only convenience. One of the most common forms of emotional mirage is found in social media. You post a picture and it gets hundreds of likes. You share your thoughts, and people comment, agree, laugh. It feels like connection. It feels like you are surrounded by people who care. But then the screen goes dark. The messages stop. The likes disappear. And you are left alone, wondering if any of it was real. Another form of emotional mirage is in romantic relationships. Someone can make you feel like you are their world when you are together. But the moment they leave, you are forgotten. They call you only when they are lonely. They tell you what you want to hear, but their actions never match their words. You are not loved. You are just a convenience. But how can you tell if you are trapped in an emotional mirage? It begins with looking at actions, not words. It means asking yourself if this person is there for you when it is difficult, not just when it is easy. It means looking at how they make you feel when they are gone, not just when they are with you. A true connection is not something that fades the moment you turn away. It is something that remains, something that grows, something that does not disappear the moment you stop looking at it. But escaping an emotional mirage is not just about recognizing it. It is about understanding why you were drawn to it in the first place. What is the emptiness you were trying to fill? What is the fear that made you cling to a shadow? What is the loneliness that made you believe in something that was never there? Because an emotional mirage is not just about the person who gives you false feelings. It is about the part of you that is so thirsty for love, for attention, for understanding, that you will drink from an illusion. So, how do you escape an emotional mirage? It begins with learning to recognize your own worth. It means understanding that your value is not something that appears when someone else smiles at you. It is something that is always there, even when you are alone. It means learning to be comfortable with yourself, to enjoy your own company, to find joy in your own thoughts. It means letting go of the need to be seen, to be loved, to be understood by those who only care when it is easy. And perhaps the hardest truth is this. Sometimes, the only way to escape an emotional mirage is to walk away, to let go of the people who only make you feel loved when it is convenient for them, to stop chasing shadows and start finding real light. Because a true connection is not something you have to chase. It is something that stays with you, even in the dark. It is not something that fades when you are out of sight. It is something that grows, even when you are apart. An emotional mirage is a beautiful lie, but it is still a lie. And the moment you learn to see it for what it is, it loses its power. Because when you stop looking for love in places where it is not real, you begin to see the love that has always been around you. The love that begins within you. The mind reader. Have you ever wished you could read someone's mind? To know exactly what they are thinking without them saying a word? It sounds like a superpower, a gift that would make life easier. No more guessing, no more misunderstandings. You would know exactly what someone wants, what they fear, what they hope for. But what if I told you that mind reading is not just about knowing their thoughts? What if I told you that true mind reading is about something much deeper, something most people do without even realizing it? Imagine you are sitting across from someone in a quiet room. They are smiling, but their eyes seem distant. They tell you they are fine, but something about their voice sounds different. You notice their fingers tapping lightly on the table. Their smile seems slightly forced, and then you realize you are already reading their mind, not in a magical sense but in a very real way. You are piecing together clues, analyzing their words, their tone, their gestures. You are not just listening to what they say, but also to what they do not say. This is the essence of true mind reading. It is not about hearing their thoughts. It is about understanding the emotions and intentions they try to hide. Think of it like this. Words are like the cover of a book, but actions are the pages inside. Someone might say they are happy, but their constant sighing, their distracted gaze, their lack of enthusiasm tell a different story. Just like a detective, you pick up on these tiny signals, connecting the dots. And this is not just limited to face-to-face conversations. Even in text messages, you can sense when someone is upset. The way they suddenly reply with short answers, the way they take longer to respond, the way their usual energy seems missing. These are all clues, hidden in plain sight. But why do we read minds in this way? Why do we constantly try to understand what others are thinking or feeling, even when they do not tell us directly? The answer is simple. It is because of survival. Humans are social creatures. For thousands of years, our ability to understand others without them speaking was a matter of life and death. Knowing if someone was angry, afraid, or deceitful could mean the difference between safety and danger. Even now, in the modern world, this instinct remains. Whether you are trying to sense if your boss is disappointed with your work, or if your partner is truly happy, or if a friend is hiding something, you are constantly reading minds. But here is where it gets even more interesting. True mind reading is not just about observing others. It is also about understanding yourself. Think about the times you have smiled while feeling sad, or the times you have said, "I'm okay," when you are not. You become aware of the fact that just like you read others, they are reading you too. They see the tiny cracks in your mask, the slight hesitation in your voice, the forced laughter. You become a part of this silent dance, where everyone is trying to understand each other without truly saying anything. And this is where the paradox of mind reading begins. The better you become at reading others, the more you realize how much people hide. You start to notice that even the most confident person in the room can be filled with self-doubt, that even the happiest person can be hiding pain, and that even the most honest person might be afraid to speak their truth. You start to see that everyone is a complex puzzle, with thoughts they cannot share, feelings they cannot explain, and fears they cannot escape. But this also creates a problem, because the more you read others, the more you begin to question everything they say. A simple, "I'm fine," can feel like a lie. A smile can feel like a mask. Even love can feel like an illusion. You start to doubt not just what others say, but also what you feel. Is that person truly your friend? Or are they just pretending? Does your partner truly love you? Or are they just afraid of being alone? Does your family truly understand you? Or are they just acting like they do? Mind reading, which should bring you closer to others, can end up making you feel more distant and disconnected. But there is a solution, and it is simpler than you might think. Stop trying to read minds. Stop trying to guess what others feel. Instead, start asking. Start listening. Start trusting what people choose to share with you, instead of what you think they are hiding. This does not mean you should ignore your instincts. It means you should balance your instincts with honesty. If you sense someone is upset, do not try to solve the puzzle on your own. Ask them directly. If you feel that someone is not being honest, do not jump to conclusions. Give them the space to share their truth when they are ready. And most importantly, remember this. Just because you can read minds does not mean you should. Respect the thoughts and feelings that others choose not to share. Everyone has their own battles, their own fears, their own stories. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the freedom to keep their thoughts private. Because in the end, true connection is not about knowing everything about someone. It is about making them feel safe enough to share what truly matters. So the next time you sit across from someone and you feel the urge to read their mind, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look them in the eyes and simply listen. Let them speak. Let them choose what to share. And you might just discover that the thoughts they share willingly are far more valuable than the thoughts you tried to uncover. The living nightmare. What if you could not wake up? What if every time you opened your eyes, you were still trapped in a dream, and every time you fell asleep, the dream grew darker? Imagine lying in your bed, the soft sheets wrapping around you, the room quiet, the clock ticking softly. Your eyes are closed, and for a moment, peace washes over you. But then you hear something, a faint whisper, like someone speaking right next to your ear. You open your eyes, and the room looks the same, but something feels wrong. The shadows seem to stretch further, the air feels colder, and the door is slightly open, even though you remember closing it. You sit up, your heartbeat quickening. You reach for your phone, but the screen is blank. No messages, no time, just a black, empty glow. Panic claws at your chest. You rush to the door, but the hallway beyond is not your home. It is a dark, endless corridor, doors on each side, some open, some closed. You call out, but your voice sounds muffled, like shouting underwater. You tell yourself it is just a dream, and you force yourself to wake up. You open your eyes again, back in your bed, Relief floods you. But then you hear it again, the whisper. The door still slightly open. You are still here, still dreaming. You try again. You close your eyes, squeeze them shut, tell yourself to wake up, but nothing changes. Every time you open your eyes, you are still in this place. The same bed, the same whisper, the same endless hallway. You begin to panic, stumbling out of bed, running down the corridor. You open one of the doors and find another room just like yours, with a bed, with you lying in it, eyes closed, but you know you are awake. Your own reflection sleeping, a twisted, peaceful smile on its face. You slam the door shut, your breathing ragged. You try another door, a room filled with mirrors, but each mirror shows you a different version of yourself. Some smiling, some crying, some staring with cold, empty eyes. And then you realize something horrible. You are not trying to wake up. You are trying to find the real you. Somewhere in this maze of dreams and shadows, the real you is still sleeping, trapped in a nightmare that has become a world of its own. But every time you try to wake, you are just moving to another layer, another illusion, another mask. How do you escape a dream that keeps pretending to be reality? How do you find yourself when even your own face is a lie? You stop running. You stand still. You breathe. Slowly. Deeply. The whispers grow louder, but you listen. You look around, and instead of fighting, you watch. The hallway ripples like water. The shadows twist, but now they seem less like monsters and more like reflections. You whisper one word, a question. Who? And the darkness around you pauses, then rushes towards you, swallowing you whole. For a moment, there is only silence, only darkness, only the sense of falling. But then your eyes snap open, and you are in your bed. The door is closed. The light of dawn seeps through the curtains. Your phone is next to you, glowing softly with the time. And you realize the only way to wake up was to stop trying to escape. The mirror's secret. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see yourself? Or just the person you think you are? Imagine standing in front of a tall, elegant mirror, the kind with a silver frame, intricate and old. Your reflection stares back. Your face, your eyes, your faint smile. But then you notice something strange. Your reflection's eyes seem slightly off, a little colder, a little sharper. It is you, but it feels like someone else. You lean closer, studying your face, but nothing changes. You laugh at yourself. Maybe you are just tired, but as you turn away, you catch something in the corner of your eye. Your reflection does not turn with you, it stands still, watching you. Your breath catches. You turn back slowly, and your reflection is normal again, copying your every move. But now you cannot shake the feeling that something is wrong. You test it. You wave your hand, it waves back. You touch your cheek, it does the same. But then you stop, and it stops, but just a fraction of a second too late. You laugh nervously. It is just your mind playing tricks. You turn off the light, leave the room, but the feeling follows you. You avoid mirrors, but every reflective surface becomes a threat. The glass of a window, the screen of your phone, even the silver edge of a spoon. Each time you look, your reflection seems a little too aware, a little too sharp. Days go by. You convince yourself it is nothing. But one night, as you brush your teeth, you catch it again. Your reflection does not blink when you do. It just stares. A slight smile on its lips, a smile you are not making. Panic grips you. You grab a cloth, cover the mirror, and for a while you feel safe. But then you hear a faint whisper, a voice just beyond the cloth, calling your name. You rip the cloth away, and your reflection is still there. But now it looks different. Dark circles under its eyes, a pale, twisted grin. It speaks. I know who you really are. Do you? You stumble back, but your reflection steps closer. Every lie you tell, every truth you hide, I see it all. I am the you that you pretend doesn't exist. You try to leave, but you cannot look away. The mirror ripples like water, and you feel yourself being pulled towards it. Your hands press against the cold glass, but the reflection's hands push back, and then they grab you. With a final desperate gasp, You pull away, falling to the floor. The mirror is still. Your reflection is gone. Just a blank, empty sheet of glass. But the next day, as you pass by another mirror, you feel it, the cold stare of someone watching from the other side, someone who knows every secret you hide. The price of a wish. What would you wish for if you knew it would cost you something? Not money, not time, but something you did not even know you had? Imagine walking down a lonely street at midnight. The air is cold, the mist thick, and then you see it. A small, old-fashioned shop glowing with a warm golden light. You step inside, and it smells of old books and fresh rain. Behind the counter, an old woman with silver hair and a kind smile looks up at you. "Would you like to make a wish?" she asks. You laugh, thinking it is a joke, but her eyes are calm, serious. "Go ahead," she insists. "Anything you want, but every wish has a price." You think of something simple, something harmless. "I wish to always be happy." She nods, writes it down, and then says, "Your wish is granted, but the price has been paid." You leave, and at first, everything seems perfect. You feel a strange warmth, a constant sense of joy. Even when bad things happen, you feel calm, almost blissful. But then you notice something missing. Sadness, regret, fear, they are just gone. At first, it feels amazing, but then you start losing more. You cannot feel sympathy for others. You cannot cry. You cannot love deeply because you cannot fear losing anyone. Your life becomes a perfect, empty smile. One day, you see someone you once loved crying, and you feel nothing. You try to comfort them, but your voice sounds hollow. You look into the mirror, and your own face looks strange, a smiling mask that you cannot take off. And you realize the truth. The price of your wish was your humanity. The redeeming voice. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a dark, silent forest. The trees are tall, their branches twisted like skeletal fingers reaching towards a starless sky. Cold wind brushes against your skin, and in the distance, you hear the faint whisper of a voice. It is so soft, almost a sigh, but something about it pulls you closer. You step forward, the leaves crunching beneath your feet, the darkness swallowing you. Each step takes you deeper, and the voice grows clearer. At first, it is just a murmur, like the rustling of leaves. But then you hear words, words that seem to call out your name, words that seem to know your secrets. "You are not what they said you are," the voice whispers. "You are not the mistakes you have made." Your heart races. You look around, but there is no one there. Only the shadows, only the trees that seem to close in around you. But the voice continues, calm, steady, and somehow familiar. "You are more than the guilt you carry, more than the shame you hide. You are not broken, you are just lost." You try to speak, to ask who is there, but your voice catches in your throat. Panic claws at your chest, but the voice grows louder, soothing like a warm touch in the darkness. "You blame yourself for everything, don't you?" it asks. You punish yourself for every mistake. You carry regrets like chains, but those chains are made of shadows. Tears prick your eyes. Memories rush through your mind. The faces of those you hurt, the words you never said, the chances you wasted. But the voice does not accuse you. It does not condemn you. It is gentle, almost like a friend. "Listen to me," it whispers. You are allowed to be forgiven, even by yourself. A sob escapes your lips. You fall to your knees, clutching at the cold, damp earth. "But I have failed," you cry. "I have hurt people. I have wasted time. I have become someone I don't even recognize." Silence hangs in the air for a moment, and then the voice speaks again, softer now. "Maybe you have failed. Maybe you have hurt people, but you are not your mistakes, and you are not beyond redemption." Warmth spreads through your chest, like a gentle light breaking through the darkness. You look up, and for the first time, the forest does not seem so cold. The shadows seem to pull back. The trees no longer feel like prison bars, and the voice fades, not because it is gone, but because it has become part of you. It is your voice, the part of you that never stopped believing in who you could be. The pity prison. Imagine a golden bird cage, tall and elegant, with intricate bars twisting like vines. Inside, a small, delicate bird with feathers like molten gold sits silently, its wings tucked close to its body. It could fly, it should fly, but it doesn't. Because the door of the cage is open, but it never leaves. The world outside is wide and bright, the sky a canvas of endless blue. Other birds soar and sing, dancing in the breeze. But the golden bird remains, perched quietly, its eyes fixed on the open door but never daring to cross it. People pass by the cage, some stop to admire the beautiful bird, some even cry for it. Poor thing, trapped in such a tiny space, they whisper. They try to feed it. They speak softly to it. They even leave the door wide open, hoping it will fly. But the bird only lowers its head. It doesn't leave, because it has grown to love the pity. It has become addicted to the gentle words, the soft sympathy, the comforting sighs of those who see it and feel sad. It doesn't want freedom, because freedom is uncertain. Out there, no one might care. Out there, it would just be another bird. But here, it is special. Here, it is tragic. Here, it is always the center of attention. One day, a young child comes by and asks, "Why doesn't the bird fly away?" An old woman beside him shakes her head, "Because it has forgotten how." But the truth is far darker. The bird has not forgotten how to fly. It has forgotten why it should. It has traded freedom for comfort, purpose for pity. It has built a prison out of the sympathy of others. A prison that feels like love, but is really a cage of endless dependence. And the longer it stays, the heavier the bars become, until even the open door feels like an impossible escape. And somewhere deep inside the bird knows this. But it is too afraid to spread its wings. Because what if it flies, and finds nothing waiting for it but empty sky? What if it falls? What if no one cares? So it stays, golden and beautiful, a prisoner to the soft, suffocating comfort of pity. Fake humility trap. What if your humility was just another form of pride? What if every time you downplayed your achievements, you were not being humble but hungry for something else? Imagine a grand hall filled with brilliant people, each of them glowing with talent, wisdom, and success. You stand among them, a quiet smile on your face, your hands folded, your gaze humble. Someone approaches you, their voice warm and curious. "I heard you are an incredible artist. I would love to see your work." You shake your head, your smile becoming a little shy. "Oh, it is nothing really, just a hobby. I'm not that good." Another person comes by. "I read your book, it was amazing." You lower your gaze, your voice almost a whisper. "Thank you. But I'm not much of a writer." More people gather, praising you, admiring you. But you keep waving it off, smiling, acting modest. And they love you for it. They admire your humility. They insist that you are too kind, too humble, too genuine. But deep inside, a small part of you smiles even more. Because every time you deny your greatness, you are not escaping pride. You are feeding it. Your humility is not a rejection of praise. It is a way of pulling more of it. The more you deny, the more they insist. The more you act small, the larger you seem in their eyes. But you tell yourself it is not pride, it is humility, it is modesty. But is it? Or is it just another way of begging for approval? Another way of making yourself the center of attention while pretending to shy away from it? In the end, you are not humble. You are just a performer, wearing the mask of modesty, a mask that hides a hunger for validation. Desire weaponization. What if someone used your own desires against you? What if the things you longed for were turned into chains that controlled you? Picture this. A beautiful woman, with eyes like molten gold, stands before you, her smile warm, her touch gentle. She whispers softly, "Tell me what you desire most." And without thinking, you tell her. Freedom, love, power, peace. She smiles, and with a wave of her hand, your desire begins to take shape. You feel freedom like a gust of wind, but then it pulls you too far, leaving you lost, alone. You taste love, but it clings to you, a suffocating embrace that will not let go. You grasp power, but it burns in your hands, making you a prisoner to those who crave it. You touch peace, but it becomes a heavy silence, a cold, empty void. The woman's smile never fades. Desires are weapons, she whispers. Sharp, beautiful, and deadly. You fall to your knees begging her to stop, but she only steps closer. You never understood, she says. The more you crave, the more you are controlled. Your desires are not treasures, they are leashes, and I am simply holding them. You look up, and her eyes glow brighter, her face serene. But you can be free, she whispers, if you can let go. You stare at her, and slowly you begin to understand. The desires were never the problem. Your obsession with them was. The more you chased them, the more they trapped you. And in that moment, you stand, you take a deep breath, and the woman's smile fades. Her beauty shatters like glass. Her voice becomes a distant whisper. And you are alone, surrounded by silence. But for the first time, you do not feel empty. You feel free. Subtle mockery trap. What if I told you that you could be insulted without ever hearing an insult? That you could be mocked without laughter, belittled without a single cruel word? It is a strange kind of trap, a shadow hidden beneath polite smiles and gentle words. It is the subtle mockery trap. It does not attack you directly. It does not call you names. It does not shout at you. It does not point and laugh. It is quiet, polite, almost invisible, but you feel it. You always feel it. It begins with a compliment, a gentle smile, a friendly tone. Someone says they are impressed that you finally did something right. They tell you that you are braver than they expected. They say they are surprised that you could understand something so complicated. At first, you hear the kindness, the praise, the warmth. But somewhere in those words, there is a shadow, a quiet sting, a feeling that something is wrong, that this is not a real compliment, that this is something else. But you doubt yourself. You smile. You say thank you. You try to ignore that quiet ache in your chest. Maybe you are just being too sensitive. Maybe they did not mean anything by it, but the feeling does not go away. This is the subtle mockery trap. It is when someone hides an insult inside a compliment, when they wrap their cruelty in kindness, when they make you feel small without ever seeming unkind. And the worst part is that it makes you doubt yourself. Because you cannot be sure, you cannot prove it, you cannot point to any cruel words or angry tones. You only have a feeling, a quiet sense that you are being laughed at, that you are being looked down on, that you are being made fun of. But why do people use subtle mockery? Because it is a way of hurting you without taking responsibility. It is a way of making you feel weak without looking like a bully. It is a way of controlling you without giving you anything to fight against. Because if you confront them, they will deny it. They will laugh. They will say you are being too serious. They will act hurt. They will turn the blame back on you. You will be the one who seems rude, who seems difficult, who seems weak. But how do you escape the subtle mockery trap? It begins with trusting your own feelings, with understanding that if something feels wrong, it is worth looking at. It means watching for the signs of subtle mockery, the compliments that always feel a little too sharp, the friendly jokes that always seem to be at your expense, the gentle smiles that always feel a little too amused. And it means giving yourself permission to set boundaries, to say, I do not find that funny, to walk away, to surround yourself with people who lift you up instead of tearing you down. But the hardest part is learning to believe in yourself again, because subtle mockery does not just hurt your feelings, it makes you doubt your own worth. It makes you question if you are good enough, if you are smart enough, if you are strong enough. It turns your own mind against you, making you feel like you are always being watched, always being judged, always being laughed at. But the truth is, the people who use subtle mockery are the ones who are afraid. They are afraid of being seen for who they are. They are afraid of feeling weak. They are afraid of someone else being strong. So they hide their fear behind smiles, behind jokes, behind polite words. They tear others down to feel taller. They laugh at others to hide their own shame. And once you see this truth, once you understand that their words say more about them than they do about you, their mockery loses its power. Because a shadow can only scare you if you think it is real. But when you shine a light on it, you see it for what it is. nothing but darkness pretending to be something more. So remember, the next time you feel the quiet sting of subtle mockery, the next time you hear a compliment that feels like a hidden insult, the next time someone smiles while making you feel small, remember that their words do not define you. Their smiles do not change your worth. Their laughter does not make you weak. You are not a joke. You are not a shadow. You are not the sum of someone else's insecurities. You are more. And the moment you learn to see the subtle mockery trap for what it is, you begin to escape it. You begin to stand a little taller, to speak a little clearer, to smile a little brighter, not because you need their approval, but because you have found something stronger than their laughter. You have found your own voice. You have found your own worth, and that is a light they can never hide. Pretend kindness control. What if every act of kindness you received was not meant to help you but to control you? What if the softest smiles and the warmest hugs were all just invisible chains holding you in place? Imagine you are standing in a quiet park, the sun warm on your face, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves. A young woman with a bright smile approaches you, her voice sweet as she asks if you are okay. She offers you a drink, a small favor. You accept it, feeling grateful. But as you walk away, she calls out to you again, asking if you would help her carry something. It is a simple request, so you agree. After all, she was kind to you. Days pass, and you see her again. This time, she greets you with a warm hug, tells you how happy she is to see you. She asks if you are doing well, her voice full of concern. She even offers you a small gift, just something she thought you would like. You smile, feeling special, feeling seen. But then, just as you are about to leave, she asks for a small favor. Can you help her with something? Can you give her a ride? Can you make a quick stop to pick up something for her? It seems so harmless, so friendly, so polite. But it does not stop. Every time you see her, she is kind, she is warm. She is so generous with her affection. But there is always something else, another request, another favor. And slowly, you begin to feel a strange weight in your chest, a sense of obligation, a quiet pressure that you cannot escape. You tell yourself she is just being nice. She is just a kind person. But then you begin to notice something strange. Whenever you say no, her smile falters just a little. Her voice becomes just a bit colder. She still smiles, but there is a sharpness in her eyes. A hidden disappointment, a silent accusation. You begin to feel guilty, even when you have done nothing wrong. You start to say yes, even when you do not want to. You go out of your way to help her, even when it is inconvenient, even when it hurts you. Because you do not want to lose her kindness. You do not want to disappoint her. You do not want her to think you are ungrateful. Her kindness has become a trap, a chain that pulls tighter every time you accept it. And then one day, as you are rushing to help her with yet another task, you catch your own reflection in a store window. You see your face, tired, tense, your smile forced. And you realize something. You are not helping her because you care. You are helping her because you are afraid. Afraid of losing her kindness. Afraid of being seen as selfish. Afraid of being the bad person in her eyes. Her kindness is a leash, and you are the one who put it around your own neck. You stand there frozen, as the truth washes over you. She has not trapped you. You have trapped yourself. Because you were too afraid to disappoint someone who never truly cared about you. You turn and walk away, your heart pounding, the world feeling a little brighter, a little colder. Because you see it now. Kindness is not always a gift. Sometimes it is a weapon. A soft, gentle weapon that you never see coming. And the only way to escape it is to remember that you are allowed to say no. Even to someone who smiles. Even to someone who is kind. And as you walk away, her voice calls out behind you, sweet and gentle. Wait, can you just help me one last time? But you do not stop, you do not turn around. And for the first time, the weight on your chest begins to fade. Because you have taken back something far more precious than her kindness. You have taken back your freedom. The promised prison. Imagine this. You are standing in a quiet, candlelit room. The air is warm. The light flickers softly. And across from you is someone you love. Their eyes are warm, their voice gentle, and they reach out, taking your hands in theirs. They smile, a smile that feels like sunlight, and they whisper, promise me you will never leave. You feel your heart swell, a warm glow in your chest. Of course you promise. You cannot imagine leaving them. You cannot imagine a world without them. It is such a simple thing, just words, just a promise. But the moment you speak those words, something changes. There is a quiet weight that settles in your chest, a gentle chain that wraps around your heart, but you do not notice it, not at first. You are too lost in their smile, too warm in their embrace. But time passes, and the light in the room fades. The laughter is not as bright. The warmth is not as strong. They are still there, but something is different. They are distant, distracted, sometimes cold. You begin to feel a quiet ache, a fear that grows in the silence. You want to talk to them, to ask them what is wrong, but you remember the promise. Promise me you will never leave. And so you stay. You smile, you pretend everything is fine. You try harder, you give more. The chain around your heart pulls a little tighter. And then one day, they hurt you. Not just a small mistake, not just a misunderstanding, but something sharp, something cruel. Maybe they lie to you. Maybe they betray you. Maybe they tell you that you are not enough. Your chest tightens, your breath catches, tears burn in your eyes. You feel the urge to walk away, to protect yourself, to leave. But the promise echoes in your mind. Promise me you will never leave. And so you stay. You swallow your pain. You tell yourself it will get better. You tell yourself that a promise must be kept, that loyalty is everything, that love means never giving up. But the chain pulls tighter. Days turn to weeks. Weeks turn to months. You are no longer happy. You are afraid. You are not loved. You are trapped. And yet you stay. Not because you are weak. Not because you do not understand what is happening, but because of a promise that was once a gift, but has become a prison. A promise that was meant to bring you closer, but now keeps you from escaping. A promise that was once a bond, but is now a chain. But why does the promise feel so strong? Because promises are not just words. They are a part of who we are. They are the stories we tell ourselves about our own character. I am someone who keeps my promises. I am someone who does not abandon those I love. I am someone who never gives up. These stories are like mirrors. They show us who we believe we are. And when we break a promise, it feels like we are breaking ourselves. It feels like we are betraying our own identity. And so we stay. We stay in the darkness. We stay in the pain. We stay in the prison we built with our own words. But what if I told you that a promise is not a prison? What if I told you that a promise is not a chain? What if I told you that a promise is something you give, not something you owe? Because a promise is only true when it is made with love, with honesty, with freedom. A promise is only real when it comes from a place of choice, not a place of fear. The moment a promise becomes a prison, it is no longer a promise. It is a trap. It is a lie. But how do you escape the promise prison? It begins with understanding that keeping a promise does not mean destroying yourself, that loyalty does not mean suffering, that love does not mean losing yourself. It means understanding that a promise must be balanced by truth, that if someone hurts you, if someone betrays you, if someone makes you feel small, you have the right to walk away. Because a true promise is a bond between two hearts, not a chain around one. But perhaps the hardest truth is this: sometimes, the only way to keep a promise is to let it go. To understand that staying in pain is not loyalty, it is fear. That protecting someone who hurts you is not kindness, it is self-betrayal. That breaking a promise is not the worst thing you can do. The worst thing is breaking yourself for someone who does not care. And so you stand in that quiet, dark room, the warm light gone, the soft smile now a distant memory. You look at the chain around your heart, and you see it for what it is. A promise that was twisted, a gift that became a trap, a bond that became a burden. And in that moment, you take a deep breath. You feel the weight lift, the chain loosen. You turn, you walk away. And as you step into the cold, quiet air, you feel something you had forgotten. Freedom. Because a true promise is a bridge not a cage. A true promise is a light, not a shadow. A true promise is something you give with an open heart, not something you use to trap yourself in darkness. And as you walk away, you begin to understand. The only promise you must never break is the promise to be kind to yourself. The forgotten memory. Imagine you are walking through a quiet forest. The sunlight filters through the leaves, casting soft shadows on the ground. The air is fresh, the scent of moss and damp earth surrounding you. Birds sing softly in the distance. Everything feels calm, peaceful. But as you walk, you see something strange. A small ancient wooden chest resting beneath a twisted tree. It is covered in moss, its metal edges rusted with time. You feel an urge to open it, so you kneel down, brushing away the leaves. The chest is cold to the touch, the lock broken, and as you lift the lid, a soft glow spills out. Inside, there are old, faded photographs. Pictures of places you recognize, places you have been. But then you see faces. Faces of people you do not remember. Smiling, laughing, standing beside you. Your heart beats faster. You pick up another photograph, and another. In each one, you are there, surrounded by these strangers, smiling, happy. But you do not remember them. You do not know their names. You do not know how you met them. Panic rises in your chest. How can you be in these photos and not remember? Who are these people? Were they your friends? Your family? Why can you not remember their faces? You dig deeper into the chest and find a small silver locket. You open it, and there is another picture inside. A young girl with bright eyes and a warm smile. Her face feels so familiar, but her name slips through your mind like water through your fingers. You close your eyes, trying to remember, trying to force the memories back. But all you find is darkness. An empty void where the memory should be. And then you notice something even stranger. The forest around you has grown quiet. The birds are silent. The wind has stopped. The shadows seem to stretch longer. You turn, and the path you came from is gone. Only thick, dark trees surround you. The forest feels alive now, watching you, listening. You call out, but your voice sounds muffled. You try to remember where you are, but the details slip away. You cannot remember where you were going. You cannot remember why you are here. You cannot even remember how you got here. Panic grips you. You run, pushing through the trees, but every step feels heavier. The branches seem to reach out, pulling at your clothes. You try to focus, try to remember your name, but even that feels distant, like a word whispered through water. And then you hear it, a faint whisper, like the rustling of leaves. Do you remember? It asks. A voice so soft, so gentle, yet filled with something cold. Do you remember who you were? Or have you forgotten? Tears sting your eyes. You shout, I remember, but your voice cracks, your hands tremble. The photographs scatter at your feet, the faces smiling up at you, strangers who seem to know you better than you know yourself. But then a warm breeze brushes against your cheek, and the whisper grows softer. Memories are like shadows, it says. They are only real if you choose to see them. You close your eyes, take a deep breath. Slowly, the forest fades, the shadows pulling back, the trees parting to reveal a clear, open sky. The photographs at your feet dissolve into light, vanishing like mist, and you stand there, alone, but calm. The panic fades. Because you understand now, memories are not always meant to be remembered. Some are meant to be forgotten, some are meant to be left behind, and sometimes the fear of forgetting is what keeps you trapped. But as you take another step, you feel lighter, free. The forest is behind you, the open sky above you, and for the first time, the weight of the forgotten memory is gone. But somewhere in the depths of that ancient forest, beneath the twisted trees and the silent shadows, that old wooden chest still waits. And the faces in those photographs still smile, still watch, still whisper, waiting to be remembered again. The Untold Crime. Imagine this. You are walking through a lush, misty jungle. The leaves are thick and wet, and the air is heavy with the sweet scent of wildflowers. The sunlight barely breaks through the towering trees, leaving the ground in a cool green twilight. Birds sing softly above, their songs like whispers, and a gentle breeze moves the leaves, creating a quiet, constant rustle. But then you see it. A shimmering silver snake, coiled tightly around a thick branch, its golden eyes watching you, its tongue flicking out like tiny flashes of lightning. It does not move. It does not attack. It only watches. But you look closer and see something even stranger. At the base of the tree, there is a small, ancient chest. Dark wood, metal edges rusted with time, a delicate flower carved into the lid. You feel a strange pull, an urge to open it. But as you take a step closer, the snake uncoils, dropping to the ground with a soft, silent thud. It slithers across the damp leaves, circling the chest, its scales shimmering like liquid silver. And then it speaks. "Are you sure you want to open it?" Its voice is calm, almost soothing, but there is a hint of warning in its tone. You freeze. Did it just speak? Your heart races, but your curiosity is stronger. "Yes," you whisper, your voice barely louder than the rustling leaves. The snake's golden eyes narrow. Once you see what is inside, you cannot forget. Once you know, you cannot turn back. You swallow hard. "I need to know." The snake's body coils tighter around the chest, its head rising up like a silver flame. "Then open it, but remember, knowledge is a weight. Truth is a chain. Some crimes are never meant to be uncovered." It slithers back into the shadows, leaving you alone with the chest. Your hands tremble as you reach for the lid. You pull it open, and at first you see nothing, just darkness. But then, a soft golden light begins to glow. Shapes appear, shifting like mist. Faces, voices, flashes of a memory that is not yours. You see a woman, beautiful, with dark flowing hair and eyes like emeralds. She is crying, her hands trembling as she reaches out. But then, a man steps forward, his face hidden in shadow. His voice is calm, too calm. "It has to be done. She cannot know." The woman's face crumples, a tear rolls down her cheek. But it is wrong, it is a lie, it is a crime. The man's shadow moves closer, a crime that must remain untold, and then everything blurs. A rush of light, a flash of silver, and suddenly you are standing in a grand hall. Tall marble pillars, golden chandeliers casting soft, warm light. The woman is there, dressed in a flowing white gown, her smile bright but her eyes dark, her laughter soft but her hands trembling. Around her, dozens of guests smile, raise their glasses, dance beneath the golden light. But you can see it now, the shadows lurking behind the smiles, the whispers hidden beneath the laughter. The woman is not happy. She is trapped, trapped in a lie so perfect that even she cannot escape it. And the man in the shadows, the one who whispered of the untold crime, stands in the corner, his gaze cold, his smile empty. The scene shifts again. You are outside the hall, the moon shining silver over a quiet garden. The woman is alone now, her smile gone, her shoulders slumped. The wind whispers through the leaves, and the silver snake slithers by her feet. She looks down, her emerald eyes wet with tears. "Was it worth it?" she whispers to the darkness. "Was it worth hiding the truth?" And the darkness answers, a faint voice carried on the wind. It was not hidden. It was simply left untold. The woman falls to her knees, her hands covering her face. "I was never meant to know, was I? Never meant to see." The snake's golden eyes shimmer. Some truths are prisons. Some knowledge is poison. The crime was never the lie. It was the silence. You step back, your breath catching in your chest. The golden light fades. The marble hall crumbles to mist. The garden melts into shadows. And you are back in the jungle, standing before the ancient chest, the silver snake coiled around it once more. But now its eyes are softer, almost sad. "Do you see now?" it asks, its voice a quiet whisper. "The worst crimes are not the ones that are committed. They are the ones that are hidden, not because of what they did, but because of what they took away. The truth, the choice, the freedom to know." Your hands tremble, the air feels colder. "But why hide it?" you whisper. "Why keep it untold?" The snake's golden eyes close for a moment, a sigh slipping from its mouth. Sometimes people believe they are protecting others. Sometimes they believe they are protecting themselves. But in the end, an untold crime is never truly silent. It whispers. It haunts. It waits. And with that, the snake slithers back into the shadows, leaving you alone with the ancient chest, its dark wood glowing softly in the silver light. You stand there, your heart heavy, your mind racing, and you realize the truth. Every untold crime is a shadow, a secret that waits, a lie that whispers, a truth that claws at the soul. But now you have seen it. Now you know. And you can never unsee it. The weight of the untold crime is yours to carry. But as you turn away, walking back through the misty jungle, you cannot help but wonder, how many more chests lie hidden beneath these ancient trees? How many more crimes wait, silent, unseen, whispering their secrets to the wind? And you wonder, as the shadows twist and the leaves rustle softly, would you open another chest? Would you choose to see again? Or is the greatest crime of all the one you never even know? The shadow that whispers your name. Imagine walking alone at night, on a narrow, fog-filled path. The air is cold enough to bite at your skin, and the moon hides behind a thick veil of clouds. The silence is almost deafening, but then, faintly, you hear something whisper, so soft it could be the wind, but your name is in it. You turn, your heart pounding, but there is nothing there, just darkness and mist. You walk faster, your shoes tapping against the damp ground, but the whisper comes again, a little louder this time. Your name drawn out like a secret, your heart races faster now, your breathing quickens. You tell yourself, it is nothing, just your mind playing tricks. But your own shadow looks different. It is not just a reflection of you anymore. It seems to move even when you stand still, stretching longer, growing darker, and then, just for a moment, it shudders, as if it is trying to speak. You freeze, staring at your own shadow, but it is just a shadow again, still and silent. You start walking again, but the whisper returns, a little clearer, almost familiar. It is calling you, and the closer you listen, the more it sounds like your own voice. Panic rises in your chest. You want to run, but you are afraid that running will make it worse. You want to scream, but the darkness seems to swallow your voice before it leaves your lips. So you force yourself to keep walking, pretending not to hear it. But the whisper does not care. It follows you, growing stronger, and soon it is not just one voice. It is a chorus of whispers, all of them calling your name, all of them from your own shadow. But what if this is not just a fear? What if the whisper is not just a trick of the wind or your imagination? What if your shadow is not just a dark shape on the ground? What if it is a part of you that you have ignored for too long? A part that knows your secrets, your doubts, your regrets. A part that has always been watching, waiting for the moment you are alone, vulnerable, and finally willing to listen. Because shadows are strange things. They follow you everywhere, always there, always silent. But what if they are not just silent shapes? What if they are the silent witnesses of everything you hide? The anger you swallow, the love you deny, the dreams you abandon. What if they are not just reflections of your body, but mirrors of your mind, your soul? You remember all the times you forced a smile when you wanted to cry. All the times you stayed quiet when you needed to speak. All the times you pretended to be fine when you were falling apart inside. Your shadow was there for all of it. It remembers what you forget. It sees what you ignore. It whispers what you cannot admit. But you were always too busy to listen, too afraid to turn around and face it. You thought that as long as you kept moving, as long as you stayed in the light, the darkness could never catch you. But darkness is patient. It does not need to chase you. It waits, and when you are alone, when the night is cold, when the path is empty, it whispers your name. You start to wonder if that is why you always feel a strange emptiness, even when you are surrounded by people. A feeling like something is missing, like a piece of you is trapped in the darkness, calling out to be seen, to be heard, because you have always ignored it. You have always feared it. You have always left it in the shadows. And as you stand there staring at your own shadow in the mist, you feel something shift. The whisper grows louder, clearer, until it is no longer just a whisper. It is a voice, your voice, but not the voice you use with others. It is the voice of everything you hide, your regrets, your fears, your secrets. And it is not just calling your name. It is speaking to you, asking you questions you cannot escape. Why did you lie? Why did you pretend? Why did you leave? Why do you run from yourself? You cannot look away. You cannot close your ears. The shadow that has always been silent is now awake, and it knows you better than you know yourself. You feel your knees grow weak, your breath quicken, but you cannot escape. It is you. It has always been you, the part of you that you pushed away, buried in darkness hoping it would disappear. But shadows do not die. They wait. And when you are finally quiet enough, they speak. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the whisper fades. The darkness around you feels normal again. The cold air is just cold, the mist just mist. Your shadow is just a shape on the ground. But you know it is still there, and you know it is not just a shape. It is a reminder. A reminder that the parts of you that you ignore never truly disappear. They watch, they wait, they whisper. And sometimes, when you are alone, they speak your name. But now, the question is, will you keep running? Or will you finally turn around and listen?